looking for something, Hunt? Oh man, that's goddamn.
He doesn't live in Martinez.
Oh yeah, they're a big deal. My great-grandfather was a carter. Had a royal license. Sure fucking is. We have a guild and everything. Hell no. It's a guild. Invitation only. Unions, trusting street thugs with their goods is going to fuck him right up the ass.
A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity are glued to various panels. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large, muscular man. The title reads, Man.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
The woman still has her eyes fixed on the photograph in her hands.
Right to work! Right to work! Shame on you! Not before you get in there and get your ass whooped. Learn by failure.
He might have some advice, but you got to at least try.
Hola, wandering man. How can I help?
The unpromising race pupil returns.
He does not so much as glance at the object.
Stop showing me your pathetic.
He had nothing to do with it.
I am not the first line of defense. I am the last. In addition, these so-called Hardy Boys are an effeminate clique of bodybuilders. Their company is spiritually degrading.
You pick up on something artificial in his tone, like he's putting on an act. This is unlike him. He is usually more himself.
Fine. They have recently fallen under the influence of a possibly sexually perverted female vagrant and a narcotics peddler. It's shameful. Find out for yourself, endomorphic blob.
Interesting.
There is nothing I cannot possibly end. Fascinating. The Revacholian degenerate shows signs of racial self-reflection. How did you accomplish this little feat? So it would seem, Throllefool. I find myself at a crossroads. On one hand, this pathetic self-therapy has little to do with it, and, of course, you will not be able to free yourself from the yoke.
Your willpower fires up.
If the Revacholian degenerate is capable of critical thought, he may still prove a race adversary. Why should I help my adversary?
Jean, baby. Do the heroic thing.
That is not possible. The game of Shahmat you play against the rules tricks is unwinnable. The days, the weeks, the months will wear you out. You will not. You cannot withstand the wasteland of realite.
It's super hard, Jean. My mom couldn't do it either.
Very well. You may enter once.
Well done.
second glance, someone has forgotten to...
It's unfortunate for the Union to just leave the...
Let's see what's inside, he thinks. The drawer opens smoothly. Inside is a web, hundreds of documents containing logistical data. 2 kinds of transactions stand, and the same materials being handed over to companies inside Revachol, Couron, Coal City. It's hard to make sense of this thicket of company names, dates, quantities, and percentages. You try to focus, but the lines are getting blurry. Whatever's hidden here is hidden well. Concentration isn't enough. Only a trained accountant with a background in logistics. It appears to be a to-do list. Remember, Leo, Everard's shoes, special whirling borscht, water Everard's plants, sweep office floor. All items on the list have been crossed out, and the note itself.
Everard Clare, probably. The head of the Debarders Union. One of his aides must have left it.
The special borscht seems a bit odd in the list. Remember, Leo, all items of the drawer slide. Kingdom of Conscience. The Kingdom of Conscience will be exactly as it is now. Moralists don't really have beliefs. Sometimes they stumble on one, like on a child's toy left on the carpet. The toy must be put away immediately, and the child reprimanded. Centrism isn't change. The front of this quarterly journal features a large satirical portrait of the late King Friesel. From the sides of his head, a pair of because white antlers are one of the symbols of communism. They represent because Friesel was incompetent. To your disappointment, there aren't any full-color pictures to direct your attention. After rifling the pages with your thumb, the magazine is divided into several sections. International developments, Kunst und Kultur, and local concerns. Just inside the cover, there's also an editor's note. Comrade, as you know, this journal takes its name from Mazov's immortal expression, du cristal à la fou. But, like the structures of capitalist ideology, we too are at risk of going à la fumée. Unlike many publications which are content to spoon-feed their readers reassuring drivel, La Fumée is committed to telling the radical truth, even when that truth may drive away potential subscribers. Only 4 issues in, and it sounds like they've already alienated their So please, if you value our radical Mazovian perspective on contemporary politics, culture, and international affairs, please consider subscribing today.
What do you expect? It was laying around the office of the Debarder.
You flip back to the front of the magazine. The table of contents unfolds before you. This section includes a long, tedious critique of the latest round of free trade negotiations. You also skip over an article about heavy fuel oil smuggling along the Messina border. Face it, you really aren't interested in foreign affairs. You flip back to the front of the magazine. It takes a moment, but gradually it dawns why they decided to title this one section. It evokes a sense of recognition and fellowship among those. As you leaf through this section, you come across several reviews of recent radio plays, as well as a brief art. The main feature, though, is a long essay titled The Tip Top Tournée is an inter-Isolari racing series, mostly known for its high speeds, ludicrous sponsorship deals, and high death toll. This so-called artist spotlight is really just a brief. You think you're settling in for a relaxing recap of the most recent season, maybe sprinkled with some nice anecdotes about a few. Instead, you find yourself skimming a 10,000-word feature. Where to even start? For one, there's the crass commercialism of its sponsors. So, all of it, basically. Oddly enough, this article has 2 bylines. There's no way those are real names. Have you ever met anyone named Exilus? Come on, they're plainly pseudo. Under capitalism, the article says, every pursuit has its price. Every pleasure, even one as elemental. Thus, the so-called tourney becomes a competition between increasingly meaningless brand signifiers. And that precisely is what's problematic about it. Were it not for the promise of random, at the end of the day, it's the destruction of these 750,000 real races that you're really what? Sure, you think that, but subconsciously, that's because you haven't been reading critically. But don't worry. The whole point.
Ah, come on. Can this article read your mind? Well, there you have it. No reason to get... If I had to wager, I'd say they've never even seen the inside of a motor, much less a motor race.
You flip back to the front of the Unsurprisingly, much of this section is taken up with articles declaring You skim the headlines. Paint the harbor red and white. Martinez tames the wild pines. Finally, there's a brief article by the writer, G. Martin, accusing the owner of the Capeside Apartments of illegally attempting to evict certain communist tenants simply for not having paid their rent. According to these editorials, there can be no accommodation with the forces of international capital or their mucilaginous allies. Why do communists love puerile insults? And they wonder why they're always being left. You flip back to the front of the magazine. The tape. An imposing combination of a punch clock and a payphone is looking down at you from the wall. A note on the side. The machine swallows your coin and seems to be waiting for your next move. Your fingers run over the dial pad. 005. That calling, still.
Video Reversal, 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lemmy. How may I help you? Video Reversal is a 24-hour video rental. We rent 8 and 10mm film for home use. This is Lemmy. No. Sir, I don't know. It's a video rental. Maybe you called to extend your rental period? Do you need to extend your rental period? If you need any further assistance, you can visit us on the corner of Voyager and Main. I can't help you over the phone. Are we done?
He thinks you're pulling a prank on him. The call is terminated by the other party. Looks like someone left his tarpaulin cloak hanging on the railing here. The white rectangle of the Revachol citizen. This is your cloak.
Yes, it does bear the RCM insignia. The service cloak issued to you by your state.
As your fingers touch the tarpaulin, it almost feels like I will shield you from the elements. Arret are faded with use. It seems to control the large crane above. Marsh. On. Arret. Off. With a loud grind, the crane shifts overhead, moving a massive metal container through the air. With a surprisingly quiet, the harbor sleeps as the strike rages in the distance. The crane moving this container, of course.
I can't see how that was worth the wreckers, except for seeing the crane in action, which I admit.
Before you stands a cargo container, just one of many.
You do? There are a million containers here. Why are you fixating on this one? There may very well be, but we are not here. We are not here to interact with containers. We are here to get the body down from the...
You attempt to turn there. To your left, the lieutenant considers your actions. No reply.
Container, I'll turn ya night.
The lyrics to this container song, the accent is so thick, it's impossible not to notice he's...
Container, container, used to be Wild Pines. Container, container, now belongs to Everard. Everard, he looks after everyone. Huh? Well...
The look in its deep blue eyes is as sincere as you've ever seen.
I see you are not a union man, mister. Did you get lost? You're not one of them scabs, are you? I mean, I don't personally mind. Folks is just folks, you know, and just some of the other guys don't look too kindly on... Oh, yes. Born and raised in Irish, mister. Mum had to leave my dad after he got a bit violent. Took us here to the new world. I was the people say us Ubies are up to all sorts of trouble with sheep and other animals and whatnot. I just want you...
Thank you for clarifying that, sir.
Oh, I'm just making some covers for them containers here. Yes, I am. So it's easier for the crane operators to spot them.
Everything is so pretty and red. You and Leo look like brothers as you glance around with similar childlike wonder. The old man whistles and hums a jaunty tune to himself.
Oh, most of the guys are down at the gates, keeping the scabs from coming in. We're on a strike. The whole union is. You don't have to work when you're on strike. Ha!
So no one?
Not everyone is down there, of course. Mr. Everard, but Titus and his boys got into some drunken trouble and Everard sent them on a nice vacation. For a week or so. Whoa, I'm not really supposed to talk. Him and his boys stirred up something in town. Probably drank too much and got into a fight or something. I heard Mr. Everett telling them to take some time off. No, I don't think they killed anyone. Let's better talk about something else. Titus and his boys do good work.
He probably doesn't know anything anyway. Who in there?
Oh, yes. I leave all kinds of notes for myself. That old head of mine ain't so good at keeping things in no more. Oh, yes. I've been taking special whirling borscht to the men. It's very good. Makes a man feel so warm and happy. I feel like I could take on Mr. Renadan's boar dogs every time the lunch is done. Yes, yes. I'm taking it to them. The borscht keeps them happy and in fighting spirits. Makes you all warm and... Oh, the whirling's cook. He makes it. Them is always talking with Mr. Manana in that weird language and laughing together. He doesn't... Oh, sure, mister. Sure. You do that. Yes, sir. Oh, that one. That should be empty as far as I know.
Told you.
Oh, you want Mr. Everett then? He's an off... Guys like Mr. Everett and Mr. Edgar, his brother, are real good guys. Oh, Mr. Everett is where he always is. Yes, yes. Everybody needs a job, and this is mine. I'm like Mr. Everett's right-hand man when Mr. Edgar is out of town. And Mr. Ed... Actually, Miss Beaufort is the right-hand man, but she's a lady.
Who is this, Miss Beaufort?
A real pretty lady with a skin like those Douai Sucre candy bars my missus likes so much. But I can't listen to the radio all the time. There's so much to do around here, and I'm always busy keeping things running here. Yes, I am.
Stay on this Miss Beaufort topic.
Oh, Lizzie, she is a real sharp tool. Mr. Everett put her through some fancy school and everything, east of the river. 4 years.
He respects that word.
But she's a real nice girl. Grew up in this here neighborhood. Knows everybody and gets along with everyone. Real pillar of the...
For a fraction of a second, this said.
If me missus and me was to have a child, I'd be real happy if she turned out like her. But she can't have kids. Dr. Lemaitre said so. And she knows about such things. Been a doctor for almost 50 years, she has.
Law school? Could she be talking about the union fixer? AKA...
Looks like it.
I'm not sure what a fixer is, but she is a real nice girl. Smart as a whip, too.
Telling the gardener you know her name might throw her off. Perhaps something to consider later.
Bye-bye now.
Before you is a walrus of a man seated behind a large desk. He looks up from his work, not the least bit surprised. With great effort, he straightens himself up in his chair, yet says nothing.
Welcome, Mr. Dubois, Mr. Kitsuragi. It's good of you two to stop by. Please, have a seat. I'm Everard Clare, head of the Debarders Union here in Martinez. I'd offer you my hand, but unfortunately my health prevents...
He looks extremely comfortable. The tiny folding chair...
You go ahead, detective.
Whatever he has in store for you, it can't be... Forget about that. What's with this Dubois stuff? You're getting some seriously bad vibes from that name.
Excellent, Mr. Dubois. I can see that you're a reasonable man, and reasonable men can be of great use to one another. So tell me, how can the head of the Debarders Union help...
The chair you're sitting on has got to be the most uncomfortable chair in the world.
Oh, by the way, I heard you got a rather rude reception from a certain Lawrence Gart. Some people have no manners. It pains me to... This should take care of that nonsense. It should be sufficient to cover your expenses for a few days and patch over your differences with a cafeteria manager.
Hey, that's 25 real. That's good money. Think of all the stuff you could.
Yes, I know Lawrence. He's a real character. No union man in him. A real piece of work that...
With a grin, he points to the checker game. It's like you're on a game show. At least don't thank him for it.
Is there anything you'd like to say?
No.
Cool? I wouldn't go that far. I'm sure there are cooler things than delivering a comically oversized novelty check to a cafeteria manager. Now, I'd like to set your mind at ease about one other matter. Your lost gun. Let me assure you, Union people are on it as we speak. I've got my best hounds looking.
His slug-like lips move, but all you hear... The world is swallowed by a black hole of fear. Only 2 words escape its gravitational pull. Lost and gun.
I know everything, Harry. Right now, I know that you're worried. It's not like you left it loaded. You didn't lose a loaded gun. Local children aren't out there playing with it right now, pointing it into their own mouths. It's in a safe place. I just know it. I have a feeling everything's going to be all right.
Officer, we will deal with this.
I wouldn't be so sure about that.
God, you're sweating. Your knee is jerking. You're about to cry, aren't you? You want to cry?
Mr. Dubois.
What is this, Mr. Dubois? He keeps repeating. What is he trying to pull here? You need to cool the fuck.
Mr. Dubois! Mr. Dubois! Harry! Mr. Dubois, are you okay? Can I get you a glass of water or...
Maybe you could use your hands somehow, in a kind of throw-in motion, like you're throwing that Mr. Dubois act right back at him. He's Mr. Dubois.
Don't be dramatic.
What an odd demonstration of... you got me, Harry. I don't even know what. As entertaining as it was, I'm afraid we're wasting our time.
Okay, enough. We are here to...
Quick, here's your window. Get yourself together. It is about time to stop embarrassing yourself. Questions will help you regain some of your lost dignity.
Honestly, I didn't want to bring it up, Harry. I heard you have become Measurehead's race pupil. Of course, Harry, of course. You're not some kind of a fantastic racist now. And no one's gonna know what you did with race there, Harry. Your race bonanza is safe with me. Word of how racy it got will never leave Martinet. Anyway, I assure you, I am a very well-informed man. Information reaches me before... Of course. Let us
That's what the hanged corpse called you. Harry.
My God, so it's true. I didn't want to believe it, but you are...
I think the odds of that are...
It might be a good idea to hide your confusion.
So good to hear that, Harry. Apparently, my sources were wrong. However, if you did have a spot of memory trouble...
Words flow like I guess word has already reached.
Are you trying to tell me you've gotten hold of some of our documents?
Mr. Kitsuragi, would you mind?
Don't just jump to the folder. That's not smart. Shows you're on the edge. Do some probing first. As you look at the folder, Everard covers it with his hand and pets it. He's hiding it from you because it's not a real RCM folder. It's just another one of those brown
Okay, Harry, you got me. This is from the Census Bureau, not the RCM.
He got the name from the Census Bureau. And everything else?
Yes, Mr. Kitsuragi, from the Census Bureau. Like I said, now I'm actually a very busy man.
That means he doesn't really know. A pity. The mystery of you will have to remain a mystery for the time.
Yes, that's what I said. Try to keep up, okay? Let's move on. Yes, your lost gun. My best man... Your gun will be found, Harry.
The only way to find it seems to be working with him. He might even be holding your gun hostage.
Yes, thank you for the hot tip regarding your lost gang. Now please, let the professionals do their...
It did not come as a surprise to him. He might...
Harry! I was only trying to be tactful. Kids could be playing gun roulette with it as we speak. Teenage gangs could be arming themselves.
I assure you, we are working on locating the missing site.
The lieutenant is concerned about the lost gun and feels that the fact you haven't prioritized looking for it is unfortunate, if inevitable, and doesn't put the RCM in a good light.
Excellent, Mr. Kitsuragi. That's excellent news. Looks like we have a friendly... Oh, of course. That's your main thing here. I mean, it's no secret that the lynching is connected to the strike. So much to talk about. Honestly, it's been... But there's a thing that's been keeping me up at night. I want to talk about the hanging. I mean...
Yes, that sounds good.
But I can't think straight with this thing weighing on me. You're police officers, aren't you? I have a crazy idea. You guys are basically door-opening machines. Incredibly talented. And I'm sure you're going to open this one with flying colors, Harry.
The stars aligned into a cosmic frown here. He has your fate decided. Bide your time, however, and let the stars continue their course, and that frown shall turn into a smile. Only if you play along.
Harry, I'm a very busy man, and more importantly, I don't...
You want to send someone a message that the police are working...
I repeat, I'm a very, very busy man, Mr. Kitsuragi, and therefore I must occasionally enlist outside help. So what will it be? Oh, no one's. It's just a weasel. A weasel lives there. A loud blabbering weasel. When weasel... Just go there, unlock the door, and leave it open. It's been such a burden on me, Harry. I just want this to be over so I can discuss... Harry, my dear friend, I am what people call a local bigwig. I know everything that goes on in Martinez. Fantastic, my friend. You can get the key from Manana. He's down by the gates. Manana's like a free agent in the Union. Special operations. Hardened socialist. A real free thinker, too. He'll tell you, just open the door. You don't need to go in or anything. I just want that weasel to come home and see the unlocked door.
You might have noticed there's one hanging.
Oh, my. Don't take this...
Mr. Clare, the man was hanged with a cargo belt. A steel reinforced. Besides, getting the body down would benefit all of us. It's a stain on the neighborhood.
I can certainly see how having it... But of course, all joking aside, Jean-Luc, my boy, I'm sending 2 police officers down. They have a dead body in a tree problem they need help with. And, Jean, please take it easy with the race science. He's had enough of... You can find Jean-Luc down at the gates, but you already knew that. Anyway, he's going to help you. I don't know what that means, Harry. Shady brew? You know what? Don't even tell me. What?
He sincerely has no idea what you were talking about. And...
My dear Harry, there are literally... Harry, you smooth-talking son of a bitch. Time is a...
Smooth talking?
Wait. You need this to get in and out through the gate. Here, you're one of us now.
got to talk with old Leo here. Yes, I did. Yes, I did. It's like Lady Larice said when she opened a bathhouse in the basement of my apartment building. They can only get so far. No trouble at all.
The cargo container. Its drawer has not lessened since you were last here. If anything, it seems to have grown. This is the night watchman's booth. The name on the door reads,
If you must. But please hurry. We are
Nothing incriminating catches your eye. The cabinets are clean and there's spark. It's a black and white photo of a young couple out in a street fair. The man is young, dark-skinned.
Why did you take that? Fine. But let's move.
So it was. My unpromising race pupil entered the harbor and used my superior.
You're so...
There's a but.
But while I am gone, someone must stand guard on...
That would mean you're openly showing the people that you're taking the Union's side.
Yes. That is precisely what it means, homunculus. This is not going to happen any other way.
This is the uncomfortable result of not taking it on ourselves. I can live.
Listen to your little friend, babe. See that they stay here the whole time.
The woman's gate.
So, you guys are like cops or something? Have you ever thought that maybe things should go to shit?
You hear that? That sound.
Yeah, Jean-Luc must be really tearing it up over there. I wish I could see it.
Look at you! RCM rent-a-cops! Guarding that bridge like Evrod's lapdogs! Is this...
And who are you? What is your business here? Why are your clothes 4 sizes too small for you?
A shrill laughter interrupts you. The man turns to look behind him at the behemoth appearing around the corner, approaching him, walking past him.
The corpse has been removed from the tree. Stand down and congratulate yourself and what you had.
How'd you like our harbor?
You've been in there, he means. Talked to the boss man, too.
It's but a rest area on the path leading across open plains. Right. You talk to the boss, eye to eye. Like men of the mercenary, eh? Who could have killed him? That's indeed the question. Why even do such a thing? What a thought! Why would Noble work? Your dead guy was an enemy combatant. I ain't the murdering type, but that's just me. Large organizations like our union have all sorts of men.
Understood. This has been a...
No problem. A key, huh? What door is this key supposed to open? Oh, say no more. I got that key right here. And let me tell you, it's mighty good of you to help us out during the strike. Working class solidarity, as they say. Oh, so the none of the above type, are you? I get it, I get it. I like to keep my distance too. But it does. What you're looking for is a basement door behind the greenhouse. That's behind the whirling in rags. That's all I know. Our organization is what you call compartmentalized.
Okay, but what...
The janitor gave it to me. Nice fella. None of this mess we're in, this job. I'm more of a philosophical dock worker. I like to talk about the big picture.
He means he's not going to tell you, cause he doesn't know. But he will shoot his mouth off with you now that you're working for who he is.
We're negotiating our share. Aye. This stuff, they already covered. Never grateful. Were we ever grateful, we'd have nothing. You fight for every piece. All of it. However...
This seditious talk sounds like communism. Just so we're on the same page, communism is basically wanting to kill the rich people or deporting them to a labor camp in southeast Grad.
No. I don't think I'm a communist. Even a weak child can think it. The only things holding someone back are I can't and I shouldn't. Just the way the world works, Boyadero. I think it's best you make up your own mind now that you've met him. In my eyes, he is a capable organizer. I guess you kind of get to be the village chief. He oversees the harbor, makes...
By that, you mean?
By heavens, why would he not be corrupt? We live in a... The old man is corrupt for our benefit, and we know it. He is reasonably lavish, sure. That's his prerogative. It's not like you want a saintly demeanor on a... Besides, there are no non-corrupt systems in the world anyway. And more...
Not you would like to say. This man has political theory, and it has not failed him today.
Sure. I've had the necessary free time. Fortunately, there's always time.
The look in his brown eyes conjures up an understanding. For him, it all comes together now. The way he speaks about scabs, his general attitude. He's that of a noble peasant or a traveling herdsman. True to yourself, independent in your actions. No. No. The man sits on the railing, his hands reaching.
Right to work! Right to work!
An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. The corpse lies on the ground among the remains of an absolutely demolished pinewood branch. It's gently laid on one side.
Mr. Measurehead has done a good job. Nothing is too broken or compromised. The victim is ready for... Yes. 1. Investigation of the scene. 2. Initial examination of the victim.
The RCM's four-phase murder.
The fuck are they on? A cop's gonna cut his shit up!
No, you and I are detectives. The honorary rank of detective signifies our ability to handle the entire incident chain. An honor and a burden attached to your rank once you are. Your station would not have assigned you on this case if you weren't. Now, the way I see it, it's either this, or we complete the initial interviews. We already met Evrard, that only leaves the Wild Pines representative. There's one in town, negotiating the strike. She could have information.
The lieutenant adjusts his glasses and takes a deep breath.
Shoot, Looney Rooney. Come back later, Corporal.
Come on, officer. You know what a field autopsy is. You've done 100 of them.
What you do know is, at 18.9 kilometers, the dormant shield volcano, Corpus Mundi, is the world's highest summit.
There truly is a time for everything, even for yellow gardening gloves. However, they are lacking hygienically. I suggest you get in there in limited capacity. I mean when I need you to. Until then, I should handle physical contact, and you should take notes. That's right.
You knew it because you inspected your ledger. The lieutenant is relieved you know the protocol. The dead man stares in silence as you crack open the ledger. The bright red paper is covered in boxes and lists, describing the condition. Above those, an 11-field info form needs filling out first.
That's you.
The corpse is indifferent to your
KK5...
KK equals Kim Kitsuragi. 57 equals Precinct 57, followed by his date, 0803, and time. That's because he doesn't want to bring up the messy question of your initials.
Next, NA. Next, NA.
Dry 40. The damage is so extensive, it's better to err on the young. He nods.
Mondial.
Fair to olive-skinned, from the Isola of Mundi, the pudgy mess of curdled meat.
Fucky!
Male.
Pigs can have sex!
Nor does he look male, with his pregnant belly, and
We're still going with... What else? 9. Body identified by...
KK57 05.
None. At least not after the initial examination. Interfering with the body's...
How did you not know that? Aren't you a cop? You're leaving a weak impression here. Say something. A silent nod. The lieutenant places. Your central nervous system recognizes this gesture. It's the stations of the breath. Somewhere in Jamrock North, a small wood shed behind Rosencrantz Row. Lieutenant Nick elsewhere yet, an obese female sits in a wicker chair, her silhouette bull-like against the window. And so, all across Jam.
We should start the post-mortem.
The corpse cannot feel Kim's hand on his chest. It no longer means
Clothes. The deceased wears armored boots and white briefs.
See, it's happening.
Babroudine, yes. Inexpensive. Size M.
the disappointment is palpable.
The rest of the clothes have been removed post-mortem by scavengers in order to get to the victim.
It would be clever of you to omit the boots altogether, sire. If you are to keep them for yourself, as you ought to, you have deserved them more than anyone else.
The boot has a serial number. It's E50.1 tattoos. The upper torso is covered in a single continuous tattoo, resembling a national pattern. It reaches. The assistant has a color photograph of the markings, to be added to the case files as document A1. The photo is taken on the scene, using the deceased has a belt for airlifting cargo around his neck, tied with a hangman's knot. Well-nourished, athletically built, measuring 1.8 meters. Body hair is light brown. Distribution is consistent with the age. The deceased had male-pattern baldness. Hair.
The hair under your latex fingers feels cold to touch. The stench is suffocating. Strands, more hair sticks to the glove. There, dead man. You were... The lieutenant watches you in silence.
That was some
Lividity is consistent with hanging. The head is congested. Contusions are...
fucking low velocity. You think Kuno doesn't know what you're talking shit about?
In addition, there are bite marks on the face, scalp, and chest, consistent with predation. Ligature mark. The steel wiring. There's too much of it. We need to remove the bells.
You got just the right tool for that. The chain cutters.
Always good to think ahead. Now, we need to cut the belt to see the ligature mark.
See, my pig is gonna fuck his head up.
No, he ain't. Your pig's a boring fuck.
The belt is equally tight around the whole circumference of his neck, swelling over the edges like white bread.
You are? You're Kuno's pig?
You jam the cutters right under the knot. That seems like a smart idea. Yeah, somewhere the lieutenant looks by. A really bad smell is coming.
Yeah, fuck it! Told you my pig was hard.
I should have a go first. I think I have a strategy.
He sinks the cutters into the knot. Snap. The knot is slashed. Another cut and the belt falls apart like a flower bouquet, revealing the dead man's neck and the...
Here. The rope rises to a point, leaving hemorrhaging is observed on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. The mark is well pronounced, consistent with a drop from 1 or 1.5 meters. Chest is intact, normal contour, abdomen is protuberant.
No! I fucking...
This is clearly what they've been waiting for, ever since the autopsy began.
Genitalia is male and unremarkable. No evidence of injury. Ah yes, your hunch before. We can have a semen analysis requested from processing, if that's what you meant. No, you weren't, officer. That would be preposterous. Just write down that we request a semen, vaginal, and anal...
The corpse with his pants down does not have an opinion on the subject. All he has is genitals and a deathly odor. The dead man's penis is average-sized.
Back is symmetrical and intact. Up, in addition, I see smaller, residual...
From wounds sustained over 2, maybe more decades.
We have a real museum here. Of battle... Last item. Hands.
His flesh is cold, icy.
Pleased to meet you. Where are you from and what's your name? I'm only fucking with you. I know where you're from. From Cappadocia. I did, Kobo. I did. Reminded me of when we should do this more.
Hands are clean. No sign of injury from... I was. Maybe I'm just... Ooh. That's all for the external. Well done. What next? Central nervous system. I have nothing.
Of course, there is a moral to be drawn from it. A moral to this.
What would that be?
The dead man looks, too, with barely contained excitement.
I think that may well be the moral of every story, officer. Good. Musculoskeletal. Purge fluid is coming from the mouth. Not injury related. Eyes and tongue protuberant. Hyoid bone.
With his eyes almost closed, the lieutenant puts his hand.
Yeah, Jack!
The hyoid bone is fractured. The rest of the musculoskeletal system is in respiratory system. Oral cavity shows no lesions. The victim has received dental implants, possibly after a combat wound. Mouth swollen.
No scream, no sigh of relief rises from the darkness inside. It's humid there, sickly sweet air. Unlike anything living, you feel like you're about to throw up again, straight in that mouth of his. It's hard. Once more, you taste stomach acid in the back of your throat. A contraction. Inside, you...
There are ancient mysteries down.
Hemorrhaging present in mucus. Hepatobiliary. NA. Ah. Are you a hepatobiliary expert? Neither am I. That's it. Same for toxicology and serology, unless you have untapped
Reservoirs? No, but do they take obscure trivia and odd tidbits?
No. We already have one test as
Pigs requested semen like it's no...
I'm not even interested in these boring milk cuts anymore. I haven't sucked him off or anything.
Leave it and cardiovascular. The body exhibits heavy lividity. Blood has gathered in the gastrointestinal.
This will do.
Digested semi-solid food in stomach. Voila. What's next on the list? Let's see. We have bite marks, contusions on the head and chest, and a ligature mark encircling the neck. You'll need 3 feels. Leave a 4th one too. Oh, so we inflicted them? Okay, so there's an incision on the thorax from a chain cutter. I wouldn't mention it. Better not to muddy the waters.
See? These pigs are fucking corrupt.
Why don't you fuck him if you love him so much?
Now, injuries. Head, chest and scalp bite mark injuries. Predation by birds has... And your opinion, officer? Agreed. Next injury. So, the scalp bleeds from a post-mortem head injury, a stone. The injury does not have the rim of an early inflammatory response. The perpetrator on the scene has confessed to causing it.
At maximum...
Has confessed to causing it at maximum velocity.
Coagulated blood sticks to his scalp and chest, where the countless stones have hit the dead man, beneath the description of injury.
Right. Next, a dark red abraded ligature mark encircling the neck, with a gap on the nape measuring... I see hemorrhaging on the skin, above and below the ligature mark. Depth of...
Below the note, 2 customary boxes wait to be ticked. The man's head jerks to the...
That's it. We have established cause of death. It's not much, and it leaves much. Let's wrap this up. I pronounce this field autopsy over. Well, we established probable. We requested a test to be run on the genitals. That was the... We were thorough with the list of... I need a copy of that autopsy form. Then I will drive him to Faubourg for processing.
He's thinking, did I miss something? I'm sure we didn't get everything. There's always something. You run your hands over the victim's cold body. The corpse seems to yawn contented.
Do you think we missed...
You can't shake the feeling that there are more secrets concealed.
Okay, well, we are in livor mortis here. He is disintegrating. We need to refrigerate the body if we want to... Hey, wasn't there a giant ice bear sarcophagus below that building? Now, detective, I've rarely been disappointed by the size of a giant ice bear fridge, but I think we should still let's move. With every hour, whatever we are looking for in the deceased will become harder.
An inconspicuous pile of inconspicuous pile of the roofing material because there's a secret door hidden behind the panel. There it is. You see a shabby little door.
What is this then?
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. Hard to say. No, these tracks are not interesting at all. Let the street sweeper just sweep them away. The bear's eyes are still glowing.
It's certainly an eccentric choice.
But the optics on this are awful, he thinks. Your visual confirms.
Shall we go and get the body then?
The body is heavier than you expected and stinkier. It takes half an hour to get it down to the basement. Then 10 more to stuff it into the fridge. The lieutenant takes a step back to admire your handiwork.
Beautiful. A dead body in an ice bear fridge. This is some...
You have created an ice bear sarcophagus.
Talk of the ice bear sarcophagus.
He means it. He doesn't want to be the ice bear cop.
As impressive as the fridge is, this is at least we've stopped the body from decomposing further. Now you can...
Inside the icy realm of the ice bear fridge, the corpse stands slumped, waiting. Touch the dead man's body. His skin is cold.
It'll come to you sooner or later. At least he's safe. If you think so, or I need a little help for carrying him to the...
There go those beautiful enamel boots. You will never own the full set now. May they rest in processing.
Continue working here. The locals, the case, or attend to your own business. I will meet you.
This means Lieutenant Kisuragi will leave the party until tomorrow morning.